G'day and welcome to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance. Hallway here. I'm commenting on a game played in the recent Australian-New Zealand 1v1 tourney. This was sent through to the head of the tournament, Millen-wise, so that he could decide on who won. Sounds like it's going to be an interesting game to watch, so let's see how these players are going to get on. Got Twyblade playing Cybran and DaGingah going UEF. Both starting out fairly standard. This map is of course Finn's Revenge, classic maps that we all learnt and played on. Got a hydro down here, up here, slightly away from the main base, and a little bit of walking to do with the commander to get the mexes in the base. There's quite a few chunks of big reclaim here, scattered throughout all the trees, and there's these choke points there that force players to focus mostly on those channels and maybe some across there or some naval. There's these two side islands that do have 2 point defense, but one anti-air gun that can be taken out with bomber or something similar, so needs and possibly T2 destroyer or something like that. So we've got Twyblade doing nothing here, waiting for the hydro to get working. DaGingah, like he's got the hydro already up and is starting to produce units from that factory. Meanwhile, his commander's over here getting another production facility up. No attempt at reclaiming any of that reclaim yet. Got a small force being built up here, probably to get a raiding party together. And again, trying to get a cluster of production facilities up. There's a slight imbalance here where the mix, there's no equivalent mix on that side, which means that it's really better to try and push an engineer towards left hand side or your clockwise side as you're looking across the island. Got a scout here. Neither faction has taken faction, or neither player has taken a faction that has hover as a T1 unit. So that's kind of interesting, since they've both chosen the map and the faction. And to say, for once, it's kind of nice to see that we're not going standard mirror matchup, which seems to be the default at the higher levels, just to make sure that there's no implicit advantage of one player's faction choice over another, which usually means they just go Cybran. Just have to say. So we're getting a PD down here. DaGingah now on his 4th factory. DaGingah definitely has more reclaim there. He's up to about 630. So he's got engineers out reclaiming trees. Picked up that big chunk of mass in the center there. There's one more to be picked up here. While the mass still remaining, one piece has been taken by Twyblade, but these other 3 are waiting to be picked up. Let's see what they can see, we've got no radar, which is really quite tragic, especially as we don't know what your enemy is going to be launching at you. The DaGingah is better set up with radar. He's got radar up close to those front lines, so he can see those troops starting to amass, and he gets some tanks out to forward to start preparing for a possible push. He probably realizes, because it's not a mass extractor point, that that's probably a PD. But we're still seeing no radar from Twyblade, and he's got all those factories, and they're all busy producing stuff, so probably getting a considerable army up there. We've got kind of 1, 2, 3, 3 going over the left side, or another 4. Those 2 going on the right. Looks like the DaGingah is thinking of committing to a push here. Neither player going navy so far. Interesting choice. Both factions have good navy versus land. The UEF obviously has the cruiser with the missiles, and Cybran has the walking on land tank, which you now have to amphibious toggle, which is a little bit annoying, but still. Okay, first push here. Inbound, Mantis coming in. And what are they pivoting around for? Off a few scouts and the radar, and in retaliation we've got a push across here. The PD coming under fire, but the rest of the making headway, and the PD has gone down, so that looks like it's going to be a push in. And Twyblade is sending his commander up. Meanwhile, this position over here is being attacked, desperately trying to get a PD up, but that's not going to happen. And meanwhile, DaGingah, no gun upgrades on the comm, but looks like he does have he does have overcharge available, whereas Twyblade doesn't. This is doing a fairly large amount of damage to these factories here. Can Twyblade parlay that into more progress elsewhere? No, the artillery takes out most of those Mantis, and that's pretty much ready to be mopped up. Meanwhile, the DaGingah out here fairly exposed with a commander and about 8 or 10 units. Could be a little bit difficult if they decide to, especially as there is some artillery there. It looks like DaGingah's going straight for the water there. A pretty good choice. No likelihood that you're going to be pushing that back, and meanwhile Twyblade now has the opportunity of pushing forward. So DaGingah's going to be retreating with his commander, and DaGingah's forces have to hold that alone. This side now being almost forgotten by DaGingah. 2 factories going back up. DaGingah's commander on the edge there getting a bit better, a few more options. Still badly down into the yellow. And meanwhile, looks like the tables might be turning on Twyblade. Twyblade's gone perhaps a bit too far, and he's now got a full force coming after him. He looks like he's trying to retreat across back to the other side of the causeway. DaGingah down into the red. He's still got... they're both down into the red now. They're... and a bomber out for Twyblade. That's a very nice piece, bit of fortune. DaGingah, is he going to escape that bomber? Looks like it. So on 181 and 1500, we've got raiding parties in the back here by Twyblade. DaGingah looks like he's pursuing Twyblade, knowing that as long as he can stay within range and keep dealing damage, the combined blast will finish them off. DaGingah looking to have a bit stronger army, but Twyblade's doing good raiding up here. Twyblade also with the bomber, trying to take out factories, which probably should be taking out engineers. Best course, I would say, for Twyblade is simply to wait in the pool here, rather than try to move out and wait till the old Control K. DaGingah Control K's himself and takes out Twyblade in the process. Probably just before Twyblade got to over 2,500. So it's a bit of a sneaky move, DaGingah, and overall it'd be hard to say exactly who's got the better of that situation. I'd probably say Twyblade here personally. He's got the bombers out. He's got another raid up here as well. Slightly more factories, excuse me, if anything, but hard to say, and a bit of early aggression here just to keep things moving, and really just made the mistake of pushing a bit too far into a superior force, which is the thing that I do all the time, so I do sympathise. Okay, I'll let Millenwise decide on that one. I suspect they're going to just replay it, which would be fair, and we will see you in the next game. Have fun. Bye.